Today, we are also very honored to have with us Dr. Kate SEYMOUR, Chair of ICOM International Committee for Conservation, ICOM-CC, and Charlotte BENSON, ICOM-CC Textile Working Group Coordinator, Textile Conservator at the National Museum in Stockholm, Sweden. ICOM is a non-governmental professional organization, and ICOM-CC is one of the biggest committees. In 2021, ICOM-CC had its Triannual Conference in Beijing. Back then, I made a keynote speech. 3 of my colleagues issued papers, and many colleagues played their respective roles in the different aspects. The international collaboration in protecting cultural heritage will make museums more powerful for sure. Let's be all ears for the presentation. ICOM-CC, a global network for conservation.
So welcome everybody to our presentation. I'd like to introduce myself and my colleague, Sarah Benson. My name is Kate SEYMOUR. I'm currently the chair of ICOM-CC. In my everyday life, I'm a painting conservator, and I work at the SRAL in Maastricht, which is a regional painting conservation institute in the Netherlands. Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Kate. I am the coordinator for the working group of textiles, and I work as the textile conservator with the National Museum in Stockholm, Sweden.
We're very excited today to be with you on the International Museums Day on the 18th of May to celebrate not only the International Museums Day, but also the 30th anniversary of the Chinese National Silk Museum. And it's really a great honor to be here today to speak to you all. And thank you very much to Dr. Zhao Feng, the director of the National Silk Museum, for his kind invitation for us to be here today. We were introduced to the National Silk Museum during our ICOM-CC Triennial Conference that was hosted by the Chinese Museums Association and delivered in May 2021. Here you can see some screenshots of the presentation that was there. It was really a small introduction to the museum and the collection and the working processes that the museum does in collection care, and also knowledge and dissemination of the museum and the techniques for making textiles and for preserving them. It was really a great disappointment not to go on the live tour. We had hoped to be in Beijing, but we really got a glimpse into this, and it's definitely on my bucket list of places to visit in the future. But today we're here to talk a little bit about ICOM-CC and how our global network for conservation can enhance the power of museums and strengthen international collaborations for conservation research and science. So our committee is one of 32 international committees of ICOM. ICOM is the International Council of Museums, and we are there to promote conservation, to further the goals of our committee and our outreach and strategic plan, and to really provide a framework for interdisciplinary collaboration. And through this presentation, and I'm going to highlight how our structure works and how that really enhances and establishes an international network of like-minded conservators, conservation scientists, art historians, and practitioners of conservation. We are run through a directory board that's nominated and elected every 3 years. And you can see our current directory board members at the moment. We are very international and spread across many different disciplines. So we have a lot of people who are transplants, and by that I mean myself, I'm British and work in the Netherlands. And we have other members of our committees that, like Sarah, also live and work abroad. And this also strengthens our network abilities as well. Not only do we have our directory board that help administer and organize our committee's activities, but we divide our committee into 20 working group, which all have different specialities. And Sarah is one of the committee leaders. Our working groups have very different topics. Some of them are focused on materiality. And Sarah will talk a little bit about the textile working group and its aims and plans for the foreseeable future. But we also have working groups that are of general interest, like art technological source research that looks at the manuscripts and advice that artists have left behind, as well as researchers and how these can be interpreted in modern days. And of course, things like documentation and preventive conservation, which are all aspects of museum life and conservation life in the museum, which are really ways that we do collaborate together. So our committee runs on a 3-year cycle where our members elect the coordinators and directory board. And within this 3-year cycle, each of the working groups organize a theme and some goals to achieve, such as interim meetings, which are little focus group meetings, which highlight ongoing research and techniques that the working group might be interested in. They also produce newsletters that Sarah will talk a little bit about in a moment. And we report all of these at our triennial meeting, which again, I will talk about a little bit later on. So Sarah, over to you, and perhaps you can give some highlights into your working group and its goals.
Thanks so much, Kate. Yes, for each triennial, we have different themes that we can come up with and a program for the 3 years. And for this next 3 years, or from 2021 to 2023, our textile working group is in on the triennial theme of sustainable approaches, and we're focusing on textile conservation in that aspect, also with a focus on traditional techniques and how we can learn from those in our everyday work. And then we're also focusing more on semi-synthetic and synthetic fibers, since these are in most all collections now, and from now until the future, we will be working with these as textiles, objects, even conservation materials from now on. So this needs to be really improved, and we need to do a lot more research on this. So we're helping promote that. And of course, any recent advances and discussions that we have within treatments, and the focus that we've kind of set for this one, this triennial, is in cleaning methods and adhesives and consolidations. Next slide. Within those themes, we came up with a few activities that we're going to have throughout this triennial. The main one, of course, is going to be the Triannual Conference in Valencia, where we've had abstracts have already been submitted for the papers that focus on the sustainability, but also recent treatment advances. And we received quite a few abstracts from our Chinese colleagues. So we're very excited to hopefully see a lot of them at Valencia in next year's conference. And the main group project that we've set up is a joint virtual interim meeting that will be with the Modern Materials and Contemporary Art Working Group. And the title is Semi-Synthetic and Synthetic Textile Materials in Fashion, Design, and Art. And this will be a meeting or conference that will allow new research to be published and discussed online internationally. And we hope to get a lot of interesting talks and presentations, and this will happen early next year. We also have set up some more informal Zoom meetings that aim to bring our textile conservation group together across the board. As we are very international, we want it to be virtual so everyone can attend and keep it free. And the main focus on these is to go through different aspects of textile conservation in different countries. So we had one last year that focused on textile conservation in Australia. And then afterwards, we have a focus on a technique, and that one was on stitching techniques. And we will also be going next to the US, and there are several other countries planned. We hope to do a couple a year, but it is dependent on everyone's schedule. And every year we submit at least one newsletter where we are expanding the newsletters. So we plan to publish many recent thesis abstracts, for example, and more information about recent publications. There's also an opportunity to publish your own article. If you would like to publish in our newsletters, you can just contact me. And just other updates that are relevant to textile conservation. And these are also shared on our social media platforms. And finally, our group did complete a project that was in conjunction with ICOM-CC, as well as the Modern Materials and Contemporary Art Working Group coordinator, Anna Lagana, who works at the Getty. And we helped and worked together on the section for conserving a symbol, guidelines for the preservation of face masks from the COVID-19 pandemic. And this resulted in online workshops. And there will be a handbook that's published this year as well. And there was also an article published in ICOM Voices on this really interesting project. And you can look at the online exhibition on their ICOM-CC website as well. And yes, we look forward to more exciting projects and having everyone involved. Thanks so much.
So how can you become involved in ICOM-CC and our activities? Well, we hope to see a lot of members of ICOM and non-members at our ICOM General Conference in Prague. And we've put some notes up on the screen of our collaborative sessions that we are hosting. We are very pleased to be working with a number of other international committees under the ICOM umbrella. And we'll have a really fantastic schedule focusing on a solidarity project that we were granted by ICOM. This project brings together a group of 36 museum professionals throughout the world. We have members from Latin America, from Asia, from India, from North America and Europe. And we are focusing on something called conservation risk assessments and how conservation can bring that towards the museum management and implement it so that collections are more protected and become more resilient over time. So if you want to know more about that project, please do join us in Prague. Prague attendance can be remote, online, or in person, and I do hope to welcome many of our members and many of our Chinese colleagues in person in Prague. Our other activities where we can really join forces, and I'm very pleased to see that at the close for the call for papers for our next Triannual Conference, over 80 submissions were sent in by Chinese museum professionals. So our next event as a committee will be held in Valencia, Spain in the autumn of 2023 in September. And you can see the information here on the slide. I think even the QR codes, if they're not covered by Sarah and my faces, will work. We will have a big 5-day meeting with 5 parallel sessions, plenary sessions, and some keynote speakers, all focusing on sustainability, and not just economic or green sustainability, but also sustainability of the field, the profession, museums, and many other aspects that are related to the sustainability development goals of the UN. Of course, that's going to have have to live up to very high standards because of the meeting that was held in May 2021, organized by the Chinese Museums Association. I think you may even see the small picture of the director of the National Silk Museum, who was one of our keynote speakers at the Beijing conference. Those publications are now all online for free download and our publications online platform. And again, you can use the QR code here or just Google the term publications online platform or search for it using your search engine. A lot of these links and information is also available on our website. Our website is really a host of information about all of our 20 working groups and our aims and goals for the next few years. It has recently been upgraded and renewed, so there's a really smooth navigation through all of the information is there. And on the website, you can also search for our newsletters that Sarah mentioned earlier. We have the current page of the latest edition from the Textile Working Group on the screen here too. So please do check in on our website and please do interact with our working group coordinators through the website. You'll find their connections. And if you're not already a member of ICOM and our committee, here's a quick overview of how to do that. It's 4 simple steps. And I really do hope to welcome you in our international community soon and hope to see you in August. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you all. And I wish you a very successful Museum International Day and a wonderful celebration of your 30 years as an institution, the Chinese National Silk Museum. Thank you very much.
It's good to hear about Kate and Shara's presentation.